You're listening to Clearly Conspicuous, a podcast series brought to you by Holland & Knight's Consumer Protection Defense and Compliance team. Here at Holland & Knight, we have the working knowledge of how federal and state agencies operate and how courts address consumer protection issues to effectively work with our clients to address these issues.
Welcome to another podcast of Clearly Conspicuous. As we've noted in previous sessions, our goal in these podcasts is to make you succeed in this environment, make you aware of what's going on with the consumer protection agencies, and give you practical tips for success. As always, it's a privilege to be with you. Today we discuss governance. Boards of directors increasingly face strong regulatory scrutiny for governance failures, not just operational mishaps, but systemic lapses in oversight. The Federal Trade Commission, as a key regulatory actor, has made it clear that it expects effective board oversight of risk and compliance. I've seen this focus in recent investigations, folks. Again, I've seen this, and the issue is very real and very important. This podcast explores the types of governance issues that concern the FTC and other governmental regulators and what boards must do to fulfill their responsibilities. So let's now talk about the FTC's governance focus, the key themes. First, data security, privacy, and cybersecurity oversight. The FTC has emphasized that a strong data security program starts at the top. Board members must demonstrate leadership and accountability in data security, privacy, and cyber risk oversight. Under the FTC's safeguard rule, a qualified individual must report at least annually to the board on the effectiveness of information security programs. So therefore, boards should understand the sensitive data held by the organization, ensure written policies are implemented and tested, insist on regular board-level reporting on cybersecurity risks, and include directors with cybersecurity expertise. The FTC's focus stems from its consumer protection mandate to prevent unfair or deceptive practices, including data misuse and breaches. There's also antitrust and competition in board composition. Both the FTC and the Department of Justice have revived enforcement against interlocutory directories under Section 8 of the Clayton Act, emphasizing the competitive risks of shared board membership among competitors. So the board should evaluate director appointments for antitrust risks, require disclosure of overlapping board commitments, and monitor investor activism for potential competition issues. Now there's compliance systems and risk governance. Regulators now expect boards to actively oversee compliance, not merely approve policies, but ensure that the systems function effectively. Boards of directors should assess whether compliance programs are well designed, properly staffed, and regularly audited. Boards should therefore identify principal regulatory and operational risks, demand regular reporting with measurable indicators, and ensure clear escalation procedures and documentation. There's also emerging issues: artificial intelligence, algorithms, and transparency. The FTC is clearly turning its attention to AI and algorithmic accountability. Boards must oversee fairness, transparency, and bias mitigation in automated decision-making systems. Therefore, boards should understand how algorithms affect consumers, ensure oversight processes for bias and transparency, and incorporate AI expertise or external advisors. So now let's get practical. Boards of directors, what should you know and do? Boards must cultivate both awareness and action. Knowledge of the company's regulatory environment is essential, as is proactive oversight of compliance and governance systems. So there's knowledge and awareness. You've got to understand key FTC statutes, including deceptive practices and competition laws. You need to receive periodic reports on cybersecurity, compliance, and risk metrics, and ensure that board discussions and minutes reflect meaningful engagement. Then there's oversight and action. Establish proper committee structures for compliance, risk, and governance. Ensure adequate resources for management and compliance. Demand evidence of program implementation and testing, and document oversight in board minutes and reports. Then there's the issue of culture and strategy. Governance is more than risk avoidance. It's strategic stewardship. Boards that embed ethics and compliance into their culture enhance long-term resilience and stakeholder trust. So there's specific governance risks. Boards interlock and competitive overlaps, inadequate data and cybersecurity oversight, superficial compliance programs that lack testing, poor incident response planning, insufficient board expertise on emerging risks, weak disclosure and reporting systems, inadequate vendor and third-party oversight, cultural compliancy, strategic decisions without regulatory foresight, and finally, poor documentation of board oversight activities. So folks, I know that's a lot, but here's the key takeaway. The FTC expects active, informed, and ethical governance. Boards' oversight of compliance, privacy, and competition issues is a strategic imperative. The FTC expects proactive, engaged boards. Oversight of compliance and risk is essential for corporate integrity. And virtuous governance reflects leadership and stewardship. So, boiling it down, what are the questions for board reflection here? What are our key regulatory risks? Do we have appropriate expertise and committee structures? Are our compliance systems well-resourced and tested? How are boards interlocked monitored for antitrust exposure? And is our board's culture aligned with ethical governance? So here's the key takeaway, folks. Governance is not passive. It's an active expression of leadership. And under the FTC's watchful eye, boards must exemplify integrity, vigilance, and prudence. In this sense, sound governance is both a legal necessity and an ethical calling. So please stay tuned to further programs as we identify and address the key issues and developments, provide strategies for success. I wish you continued success and a meaningful day. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Clearly Conspicuous. For more information on our Consumer Protection Defense and Compliance team, visit hklaw.com/CPDC or email anthony.diresta@hklaw.com with any questions about today's episode.